much for watching my video. My name is Breezy and I am a yoga teacher. I specialize in trauma-informed practices such as yoga, and topics like today I specialize in because I consider this to be yoga off of the mat. Now, have you ever heard of an energy vampire? Now, in yoga, we have what we call prana, and that is life force energy. That is the breath and the vital energy that flows within your body. Now, when I think of an energy vampire, I think of vibrations. They like to find someone who is at a higher vibration than them so that they can suck the life force energy out of them, bring them down while lifting themselves up. And perhaps you have been that energy vampire a time or two in other people's lives. Now, today we're going to talk about the question, are you toxic? Now, before you get defensive, which coincidentally might actually be a signal that you're on the spectrum of toxicity, let's hit that subscribe button, that bell notification, and if you like the information in today's video, I would be so grateful to receive a thumbs up. So, what is toxicity? Well, before we talk about that, why do we even want to do this work at all? Now, the work of introspection is a gift that not only you're giving to yourself, which is the most important thing, but you're offering to all of the people who love you, look up to you, and may be inspired by you. So the work of introspection is a lifelong practice, and it is absolutely worth every moment that you spend doing it. Now, I like to think of introspection as bridging the gap between mind and body to make that spiritual awakening connection. How beautiful is that? Now, how do we begin to identify if you are toxic? Well, one of the best ways to do this is to ask yourself, what are my triggers? Now, what is a trigger? A trigger is something that I like to call it an ouch, where it feels like someone's pinching you and you're like, ouch! And you're triggered by something they did, they said, they crossed a boundary, they made you feel uncomfortable. Now, the question isn't if your trigger is valid, because they always are valid. The question is, do you need to do the work on your life to heal those triggers? Are you the type of person where someone can give you side eye and you are just ready to duke it out? Or do you find yourself feeling defensive often, feeling angry, even sad, maybe even going into more of a depressive state? What causes you to have an emotional fluctuation in your life? And that is really important. You have to start to identify when you feel the ouch. Now, if someone's really crossing into your sacred space, which we've talked about on Love Breezy Bree, check out the show notes. We've talked about aligning our energy centers known as chakras. We've talked about setting up really healthy boundaries, and all of that is really important, because if you do the work of really understanding your shadow side, understanding who you are on a deeper level, then your triggers are going to be more in alignment with your vibration. However, if you do not feel safe and secure, if you do not feel creative, self-empowered, like you understand who you are, you're not able to forgive anybody, but most importantly yourself for maybe mistakes you've made, decisions that didn't work out, situations you got yourself in, you're not able to really trust your own judgment. You don't really know if a red flag is a red flag, or if it's a yellow flag, or if it's a green flag. You are sort of lost, and you tend to latch onto other people to mirror back to you where you are at any given moment in time and space. Now, all of this could be happening without you truly having self-awareness, which is why we need to gather that first before we can even start to work on what's really important, which is healing. Now, we need to know where we are. We need to know how deep we are into feeling traumatized, perhaps, feeling unsafe, feeling triggered, feeling angry, feeling insecure. We need to kind of evaluate and gather that empirical data, become the scientist of our own lives. How do you do this without really just crumbling into pieces? Because when you start thinking about your life, your past, your decisions, it feels a little murky. Sometimes it's easier to move forward instead of ever going backward. And we're not telling you to go backward, but we're talking about looking back so that we can go forward. It's like driving a car and you have the rear view mirror so you can see what's behind you, but you're moving forward. That is what we're doing. We're just taking a snapshot of, oh, okay, I have some attachment style. Check out the show notes. Issues, or not issues, but I need to understand where I'm at on that spectrum. I have some trauma from childhood. I have some trauma from adulthood. Whatever it may be, one of the things that I invite you to do is start journaling. Journaling doesn't have to be some long Dear Diary synopsis of your day. It can literally be, today I felt this way. I felt content, I felt happy, I felt upset, and then to start to dissect those emotions. Our emotions are such false temperature checkers. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about emotions coming and going, like the sun and the moon, changing spaces in the sky. We want to become better than our emotional state. We want emotional maturity and intelligence, but to get there, we have to know what type of emotional person we are. Are we non-emotional, which is a different variation of emotional, or are we on the spectrum somewhere where we can really begin to identify? So ultimately, we need to find out if we are toxic. Now, obviously, you can ask the people you love if they're not afraid of you, but it's always better to start doing the work on your own life. Ask yourself, would I want to be treated the way that I'm treating another? And if you're truly unable to answer those questions, but you are having relationship issues, you are having issues with employers or customers or other humans, and you do find that this is sort of starting to become a statistic, right? You are really starting to see that this is trending in your life. I invite you to ask yourself the important questions. And just because you're listening to this video and just because you're asking yourself those questions already tells me that you're already doing the work of healing all of your energy centers, that you're bridging that gap between mind, body, and coming together for a spiritual awakening. So you are already doing the work. You are already practicing yoga off of the mat. Whether you practice yoga or not, you are already in the right direction of truly having an intentional, mindful practice called your life. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you subscribe. I hope that you check out the show notes. You give me a thumbs up. I would so appreciate that. There are so many more videos related to this topic, and you can begin the process, the journey of living your best life. Namaste.